My Strength, My Song, a new book by Major Herb Fuqua. Many people who subscribe to this channel do so because of the large amount of Salvation Army music that is featured here. So I asked Major Herb about his musical experiences growing up.
We were in Champaign, Illinois, and there was no band in the Corps. So my dad, who was a mediocre player, started a band. And he used us four kids who knew very little, but we knew the C scale. So he broke everybody into groups. We had 23 people. And so I was teaching the C scale. And then my dad would take a tape recorder and tape us. Then he'd wait for several weeks, tape us again, so we could tell we were improving. Well, then a Salvationist came to the University of Illinois from Texas. Bill McNeeland was his name. He was a music major, and he took over our band and turned us into halfway good. But I was always amazed at the fact my dad didn't know what he was doing. We didn't know what we were doing, but we ended up with a band, and as far as I know, they still have one there. My parents, being Salvation Army officers, got transferred from Champaign, Illinois to Grand Rapids, where they were the divisional youth leaders. I fortunately was able to start high school in the 10th grade. And I remember wrestling. I was captain of the wrestling team. We were a new school. We had just started wrestling. We were the first ones. So we got squashed the first year. Uh, the second year, we did better. I was wrestling one time against the state champion from the previous year in my weight class. So I knew my work was cut out for me. He got me, I made it through the first two periods, and then the third period, he got me and I couldn't get away, but I was really good at bridging. So here I am wrestling the state champion. He thinks he's going to pin me, and I bridge for at least minute and a half. And the crowd now is starting to cheer for me to not get pinned. So I made it. He didn't pin me, and even though he won, I got more accolades than he did for holding on. So that was kind of a win and a no win.
The draft. I read where you said that you were transferring from Minnesota to Nebraska and somehow your transcript didn't come on time. Could you
Right.
tell that story again from leaving Minnesota?
Yeah, I was attending University of Minnesota because I wanted to get a degree in Phi Ed in case I didn't make it as a Salvation Army officer. I wanted a backup thing. I was living at home, and one day my friend Vern Jewett gave me a call and said, "You should come down here to Nebraska and play baseball." He said, "I talked to the baseball coach and let him know you're really good, and he's interested." Then he said, "I also want Jack Getz to come. We could all rent a house and go to college together," which I was by myself. So I said, "Yeah, that'd be great." So at the end of the quarter, I transferred, went down to Nebraska. We got a house together, the three of us. And I had a letter from the baseball coach in Nebraska asking for my high school newspaper clippings. And because I'd played all city and all conference uh, and batted really well, even as a sophomore. So he offered me a scholarship if I made the freshman team, a 4 year scholarship. So that was fair. So I went down there. I was pretty shy in those days. I went to the admissions desk and said, "I want to sign up for this quarter or this semester." And they said, "Well, I understand you were at Minnesota. Can you give us your transcripts?" I said, "Well, I don't have them, but I'll call them. So I called Minnesota. They mailed them. Went back to the administration office in Nebraska. Said, "Well, did you get the transcripts?" Said, "No, son, we don't have them." I said, "Well, Minnesota said they'd send them." "Well, we don't have them." So I called Minnesota. Said, "They didn't get them yet. Did you send them?" "Yes, we sent them, son. Tell Nebraska we sent them." So I went back to Nebraska desk. Minnesota said they sent the transcripts. "Well, I don't know what to tell you, son. We don't have them." I said, "Well, they said they sent them." "We don't have them." So I called Minnesota again, say they don't have them. "Well, we sent them." And by the time I going back and forth, now I get in the mail a letter saying you're drafted into the U.S. Army because I didn't get in to college in time.
Getting that letter when you were expecting to be in school must have been an emotional downer, or was it?
It was a shock. I wasn't expecting it. And the deep emotions I felt were uh, I want to play baseball. I came down here to get a degree, and that door just slammed in my face. Then my emotions went to I'm I'm going to end up in the military, and I didn't mind that because I love my country. I love uh, America. I didn't mind serving. However, it was so unexpected. It was like getting the wind knocked out of you, and I was stunned with the ramifications of I'm in love with Janet. I want to play baseball. I wanted to get a degree. God's calling me to this. So it was stunning, confusing. Uh, I had no ability at that moment to piece together any logical step. Well, what happens to me next? Everything was like it's kind of like one of those snow things that you shake up at Christmas, and everything's shaked up now, and where it's going to fall, I don't know. So
Mm. I asked Major Herb for somewhat of a funny story from his time in Vietnam. Here's what he said.
often in Vietnam, we did ambushes at night. And the secret was to wait till almost sundown so you could find the spot, but nobody could see that you're setting up an ambush. Often we had to walk across what were called rice paddies. They were full of stinky water. It's 118 degrees. The water smells, it has leeches in it. It's about 2 feet deep, and you walk on these 1 foot dikes that separate the water. If you fall off, you get stinky, wet, leeches on you. So there's an art to that. Walking across there. One guy came in new. His first assignment was ambush with us. And you have to be quiet. You can't make any noise or people will know you're coming. Well, he fell off. He didn't know how to walk on the dikes. He fell off. It was like a cannonball off of a high dive. And we all wanted to laugh, but you cannot make any noise, nothing, which made it even more difficult not to laugh. Well, he fell in 3 times. And by the time we got to the ambush site, it was like, this is his first time out. We knew who he was or felt sorry for him, but at the same time, it was really funny because you knew what was happening to him. He didn't have any clue how to walk on those thin dikes, and you learn. But that was a funny night.
Was it dark?
It was almost dark. It was dusk,
Mhm.
and on top of that, there's grass that grows on the dike. It grows out sideways, but there's no dirt there. It's just grass. So you think you're walking on it, but you're not. And he hadn't figured that out yet. So he fell 3 times into that water. And again, not being able to laugh or make any noise was half the battle. Everybody's snickering and trying not to make noise. So he was, we called him the teddy bear. So,
My final question related to the emotions he felt as he was leaving Vietnam.
that is, the emotions are very mixed. One is you're really delighted that you survived and are going home. So you have this warm expectation, relief, and then you file past these guys that are getting off the plane who have a whole year ahead of them. You know what they're getting into and they don't. And you somehow wish you could transfer that to them because their eyes are like saucers. They're looking at you and you can just see their little minds going, what am I getting into? What was it like? Am I gonna survive? Uh, it's like they want to draw out of you your experience. You wished in a way you could fill that information in for them, but there's this eerie wall of invisible wall of I'm on this side of it, you're on that side. There's no time to talk. We're just passing clouds. And it was like, thank you, Lord, for getting me through this. And you have no idea what to say to these new guys. I remember, I didn't know if we looked older, uh, but when they were so new and so wondering what's going to happen to me. It was a, it was an eerie, silent, I studying, what do you know?
Mhm.
And then when we got on the plane, isn't that weird? When we got on the plane, we were able to let go and
Mhm.
feel safe, even though the plane was sitting right there. It wasn't until we actually got in our seats that it was like, this is real. We're going home.
Mhm.
And the guys had filed past us, and it was like it's over. We
Mhm.
made it.
Yeah.
Uh, just a light. Uh, People don't realize what it's like to to feel safe when you haven't been safe. When every day you're wondering, is this my last day? Is this my last day? And then here you are feeling safe. I don't know how to make people feel that, but it's a it's really something to feel safe. It's almost like if somebody was hiding in your house and you couldn't find them, but you knew they
Mhm.
wanted to kill you. Every moment you're looking, wondering, and now that person's not there anymore. They're gone, and it's like peace. Yeah. Okay.
Major Herb, how did you come up with the title My Strength, My Song?
I was reading Psalm 118, and the psalmist said of God, "You are my strength, my song, and my salvation." And it resonated with me. God is my strength. When I was in Vietnam, there's a certain strength that you need that supersedes who you are and what you have within you. And I feel sorry for men, especially who say, well, I don't need God. I don't need anybody. I'll just pull myself up by the bootstraps. Well, that's too bad because when you come up against fighting and death and danger and it's a long time, you don't have that strength. Nobody does. So when the psalmist said, "You're my strength," and God was my strength in those hard times. Your song. Well, I thought, yes, those were tough days. God was my strength, but He also was my song in knowing that if I die, this is not the end. You know, there's something more to life than living, more to death than dying. And so He was my song. And I thought that that captures my experience with God in Vietnam. He's my strength and my song. And He is the one who proved Himself to me. He was ahead of me and always making a way, even with little things. He just showed up when I didn't know what to do. I was getting tired or I was lonely. And it was like, here I am, I'll provide this. And it was like, this is amazing. Uh, so He's my strength, He's my song. And ever since then, whatever I face, it's like, yeah, but God is your strength and your song. Don't let it be so heavy. He always provides a song, always.
My Friend, My Song by Herb Fuqua, and it's available, and hopefully you'll be able to get a copy of it soon. It is available at zulonpress.com, amazon.com, barnesandnoble.com. It is available in hard copy or as an ebook. Thank you for listening.